This is On the Line, and I'm Eric Felten. Weeks after a cyclone devastated Burma's Irrawaddy Delta, the military junta that rules Burma finally agreed to allow neighboring Asian countries to organize international relief efforts. According to the United Nations and the Red Cross, more than 100,000 people died in the cyclone and its aftermath. Hundreds of thousands more are in grave danger, facing starvation and disease. And yet, the Burmese regime has refused to allow the United States and other nations to race relief supplies directly to the people in the coastal region. The U.S. Navy has ships in the region from which helicopters have been ready to airlift food, water, and shelter to the storm-ravaged area. What little aid Burma has allowed in has been flown to Rangoon, and some international aid organizations have complained that the Burmese army has been diverting aid to its own use. Burma's response to the cyclone, says First Lady Laura Bush, is just the most recent example of the junta's failure to meet its people's basic needs. I sat down earlier with the First Lady to talk about the crisis in Burma and U.S. efforts to deliver aid to the Burmese people. First Lady Laura Bush, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time. How serious is the situation in Burma at this point?
Well, from everything we know, it sounds like very, very serious. I think the UN has estimated that maybe about 80% of the people who've been affected by the cyclone have not been reached with any sort of help. Of course, we don't know that much because not that many people have been allowed in, and not a lot of press coverage really in the Delta where the cyclone hit. So what we're doing is obviously just estimating how many people haven't been reached. The United States has been very active in trying to help. I think so far about 40 C-130s have landed in Rangoon with supplies for the people of Burma, and we hope and pray that those supplies are reaching the people who really need it. We're working through, as you know, international associations like the UN or UNICEF or the World Food Program or ASEAN, that group, and all the NGOs. There's some very good NGOs on the ground, which is encouraging.
What has the U.S. been ready to do, capable of doing? What more could the U.S. be doing if the regime in Burma allowed the U.S. in?
Well, the U.S. could be doing a lot if they were allowed in. We do have Navy ships that are off the coast of Burma that are equipped with a lot of things for a disaster. They have big desalinization trucks that they could drive off and make clean water, fresh water for people out of salt water, and I think that'd be very important. Obviously, there's food on some of these ships, as well as plastic sheeting, all the things you'd need to try to build some sort of structure if your homes have been destroyed. Mosquito nets, other things that people might need. So helicopters, I mean, that's the really important thing. There are helicopters that could lift people out of bad situations or could bring supplies into people that were not being able to be reached because of high water or other sort of destruction.
And the official regime newspaper said this week that they wouldn't accept U.S. aid directly from the U.S. because it, quote, comes with strings attached, and those strings are, quote, not acceptable to the people of Myanmar. Well, are there any strings attached?
No, there would be absolutely no strings attached with this aid. The people of the United States want to help the people of Burma. They really want to be able to help, and we have a lot of ways to help. We do have a disaster relief team that's still waiting in Thailand that's never been able to get a visa to get in. There are no strings, but I will say, even though the official newspaper said that, we have not heard that officially. And so I still want to urge the military rulers to let the United States, let the people of the United States help, because we can help in such a very successful way because of the equipment that we have that's available that people could use.
Is the international community doing enough to try to persuade the regime in Burma to open up the country? What else could be done?
Well, I think so. I mean, people are speaking out all over, and a lot of leaders have spoken out and urged them. But on the other hand, Ban Ki-moon is supposed to he'll be there this weekend, I think, in Burma from the UN. And so at least if we can channel our help through the UN, through ASEAN, through the countries that are acceptable to Burma. The point is to try to be able to get help to the people who need it. And so I hope that we'll be able to do that if the military generals will not allow direct help from the United States. Now, obviously, they have allowed and accepted at least 40 C-130 transport planes full of supplies, and so I hope they'll at least continue that, if not really letting these Navy ships come in with all of this equipment that they have that could be so helpful.
Is there confidence that the aid being taken to central locations being delivered by the transport planes is getting where it's supposed to go? There have been reports from aid organizations that there's concern that some of this aid is being siphoned off to the ruling military.
Well, we just don't know that. I mean, I just don't have any way of knowing whether that's true or not. I just want to urge the government of Burma to make sure people get this help, that it's just so important that people be helped. And I urge them to allow the international community to help in every way they can.